CBMZ, and we're at Charley's Restaurant and Club in Gastonia, North Carolina. And let me tell you, folks, the man right here, the man who's been in the business, I think, I'm not making you feel old, Charley, just a long time, 43 years. And I tell you, you've been through a lot. Charley, tell us, going back, how did it all start for you in the nightclub business?
Well, I had a restaurant, the old place down on York Road, and I wanted to try the club business out, so I started a teen club called The Horse.
Right.
And it was popular. I mean, we just had the one room where you've been in there,
right.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I built all onto it, and we'd have 300 screaming kids. That went sour when one kid pulled a knife on another kid, and so we got rid of that. Then we started the El Condor Club.
Right. Yeah, I've heard a lot about the El Condor.
Kenny and them, they played there back in the early 70s. And we've had a bunch of them. You remember the poster we had up here?
I do remember the poster that was up here on stage.
From Ray Charles plumb down to Clarence Carter.
Yeah. Tons of folks, because we were talking about that. My gosh, over the last, I don't know, you say 43 years that you've been in business, who all have you had, artists that have come through your places?
Big ones would be Ray Charles, Percy Sledge, Tammy Wynette, Chubby Checker, the Drifters, the Platters, the Tams, Chairman of the Board, Clarence Carter. Even I can probably call one you won't even know who he was. Let's see if I can remember his name. Remember the song Show and Tell?
Yeah, Al Green.
Al Wilson.
Al Wilson, there you go. Hey,
we
you
had
correct
him.
Me. See, I'm a radio guy and can't get it. Charley knows all these folks. What was it like meeting like Al Wilson and those folks over the years? Just it had to be incredible.
Well, you know, they was on their way up, except Ray Charles. You know,
right?
He was that was right after Elvis died, so you know he was big.
Right,
he was big.
I tell you, it has been an incredible ride. Now, going back to you in the nightclub, I remember a place that you had here in Gastonia, North Carolina, that was called Chaz's. Is that right?
Yeah, two places called Chaz's. One on Remount Road, and one at Dixie Village Shopping Center.
Because I remember going into the Carolina Beach Music Artist. I can remember being there on Remount Road and seeing the Fantastic Shakers and a lot of those. I guess the Catalinas and a lot of those folks were in there back in that time. Well, I tell you, that's taken us in the past, and we're here in the future right now. So let's talk about Charley's Restaurant and Club. You're here in Gastonia now. You're back open, and I feel fortunate that I got to play for James Bates, who was just inducted into the Carolina Beach Music Hall of Fame in November for New Year's Eve.
Right, yeah.
And I got to play the band breaks for that. It's an incredible night. Yeah. What is in store for 2012 for Charley's Restaurant and Club here in Gastonia, North Carolina? Who we got coming up in here? I know Ken Knox, with the chairman of the board's here tonight.
I'm going to bring them back. I'm going to bring the Shakers. I've had a brief talk with Coastline.
Jim Quick.
Jim Quick. I was supposed to call him back and get a date on them.
Right.
We wanting to get them in here, and I think I'm going to bring the Drifters back in. The Drifters probably played for me probably 35 times.
An incredible
And this is Benny Anderson out of Atlanta.
Right, with the Drifters. Right. I've actually saw Benny before. A good show that Benny and them do. They were on a festival I was at up at Lake Norman, North Carolina.
Well, you know, Benny's the one that took the rights to court to try to get to be the original Drifters. That was his name then.
Right.
Somebody from New York, Meshack or somebody, showed up with the paperwork for the Drifters and give it to what was his name from Sumter?
I know who you're talking. Bill Pinckney.
Bill Pinckney, and he got the rights to it all. And Benny lost it.
Yeah, well, you know, there was a ton. I was talking to Sonny Turner with the Platters here a while back, and he was on the show with us, and he was talking about a lot of the names that are out there now. You got like 4 Drifters, and you got like 4 Platters, and it was a big issue there for a while with a lot of folks using the names, and they were trying to take the name back and how they could control that name somewhat. And I guess the Drifters were the same way, but I know Benny, what you were talking about when he did that,
he was an original Drifter.
He was an original Drifter. Is what's the cool thing about that, and it's an awesome show that they do because it's like a Drifter show. What you would see
it's
from the Drifters. It is.
They get up and do it. Now the Platters, that's Buck Ram.
Right, exactly.
I went to Atlanta, me and my wife, and we're having an anniversary next week, 28 years ago.
Wow.
And we went to the big hotel in Atlanta to see the Platters. And Monroe was a friend of mine.
Right.
And they brought Buck Ram up. I thought he was black.
It is not.
He's white.
It is
He's
white.
white.
So you had a shocker. That was sort of like the Charley Pride story. When everybody first saw Charley Pride, it was like a hush fell over everybody there for a second, and then it all came back. Well, I'm here, Charley. I ain't going to keep you any longer because I know you got a lot of stuff going on. There's tons of people here tonight. Charley's Restaurant and Club. And let me tell you how you can find out what's going on here. Facebook, you got to love Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
All you got to do is go up to the little searchy thing on Facebook, search Charley's Restaurant and Club, and it'll come up, friend them, and you'll see everything that's going on right here, what Charley's bringing in. Because let me tell you, you never know about Charley Gunn. I've learned this over the years because you've talked about, I know about 2 years ago we were talking about, I think it was it the Martha Reeves or somebody that you were even talking about bringing? I can't remember. Who did you have the contract for back there? You showed me.
I had a contract on Marty Robbins for May the 4th in 1983 or 84. In about a month. And I wish I'd have kept that contract signed and sent back to me. About a month before the time come, they called me. His health got bad. He died, I think, on the day before we were supposed to have him. That was at Dixie Village where the Frontier is. Yeah, that's where I had Ray Charles.
If you come to Charley's Restaurant and Club, stop Charley sometime. I know he loves this. Full of history, man. He's talked to a lot of folks. But anyway, Charley, thank you so much. Charley Gunn, Mr. Gunn, he told me to call him before we went on. I call him Charley. I'm just kidding. Charley's Restaurant and Club, Facebook. Check it out, folks. CBMZ.